So recently I went away and meditated 10 hours a day, 10 to 14 hours a day for 10 days in complete silence, completely removed from the world. So no distraction, there was no technology, no social media, no contact from the outside world. And I was able to deeply reflect inwards and just experience what's a life like when you remove all external input, all outside noise, and what happens when you just focus solely inwards, solely on your thoughts, solely on your body, your sensations, and just see what happens, see what comes up. And I thought it would be really insightful for me to share with you some of my experiences, some of the insights that I had doing this. So this is not the first time I've done this. I've done it many times. See, you read about such a thing on paper, you might think, oh, this is crazy. Why would you do such a thing, you know? If you've done it yourself, you realize just how beautiful and wonderful it can be. Also, how hard and how challenging it can also be at times. And that was one of the first things I noticed almost instantly, was just how much noise was going on inside my mind. And, you know, we're constantly putting our annoyance on the outside world, right? We're constantly trying to change the outside world to make it kind of fit our preferences. Like, we want things to be nice, we want things to be comfortable, we want things to go well for ourselves, we want validation, and we want to feel connected to other people, all this stuff, right? And you know, when we strip that away and we don't have that, and we're not feeding our impulse all the time, constantly, which we can now in today's world, we start seeing what actually is going on. We're not avoiding ourselves anymore, and it's terrifying at first. You're like, you think you're going crazy, and you think by putting yourself in this situation, by putting yourself in a dark room and not leaving, and just solely focusing inward, that is causing you to go into a state of what feels like psychosis. But you then realize and have this insight that actually no, you're just seeing what was already there, and you're realizing that all these things that you've been doing are actually in response to these feelings, to these emotions, to these thoughts, even to these stories that you have about yourself, like positive, negative, like insecurities. It's only when you remove yourself from life do you actually get to see this. And obviously you can do it right now. You can start looking in with it. You know, you can do it at any point. But when you start going deeper and you do it for long periods of time, these things start coming up. And that's one of the first things I started to realize, is that, oh my God, what I've been doing. I can't let this, what's going on in here, run the show. I have to be so careful, because my mind, if unattended to, can become really unpleasant. And this is a common symptom. This is a universal symptom for humanity, right? If we lose consciousness over our minds and we're not aware of what's happening inside our minds, and it starts unconsciously ruling the show, then, I mean, I don't need to tell you what will happen, because we can already see it, right? Things don't work out too well. And it's scary. It's scary to have the insight, but it's also deeply liberating, because you now know that you now have to take responsibility, that and the only person that can really change things. Yes, you can try and change things from the outside, and you should, you know, to a degree, try and make things work for you in your favor, as long as those things that you want to change are like good, right? And, you know, they benefit you and other people, you know, but at the same time, there's only so much you can do. And pretty much every day, you're going to be faced with things not going your way. Even if it's just small, you know, even if it's like you've just bought some milk for your tea and it's gone off, right? That can still be annoying, right? It can still cause like upset in your system. And it's up to us. And I think I went obviously to a place that accommodates this. So it was like a retreat. And one of the things they make you do is sit for long periods of time. And one of the things that we were made to do is like observe sensation, right? So you're made to just like slowly and surely observe sensation and sit for long periods of time. And you start seeing that mind-body reaction to your sensation. And eventually what starts to happen is you break out of that reaction and just observe that sensation as it is. And it's funny because when you come out of that and you're able to just observe your life and observe the process of what's going on inside of you, you slowly start to gain freedom from this body-mind, right? From this vessel, this meat suit that you've kind of inherited from wherever the hell it's come from, right? And just a second of equanimity from suffering it's almost like a lifetime worth of healing, even just for a second, just to have that for one moment, to see that there, is an alternative way of existing. It's so liberating and very Moorish, very addictive as well at the same time. And again, that could also, come as another craving, right? And yeah, the deeper I went into this, obviously, it took a good 4 to 5 days before I really started to allow my mind to settle, because of just living, in life and using my phone all the time, being overstimulated, not checking in on myself as much as I should have done, even though I know it's a valuable thing and it's something that I'm like really passionate about and obviously wanting to talk about here. Even still, I have all this knowledge and I still hadn't been doing it, and I was getting checked. I was getting fraud checked basically on this by this experience, and I was grateful though. I was like, okay, brilliant. And the other great thing about it, of taking time away and removing distraction and spending time by yourself, is you start to see, where are you repressing yourself? Like, what are you doing that isn't in alignment with who you are at your core? And that's really valuable too, because that can sneak up on you as well, where you start getting seduced by things that might not really, when you strip it all back, matter. And it's funny because you would think, when you take everything away, you see the value in things like, say, success and money, but really it just, in that moment, I've been chasing money, trying to earn and strive to earn a good living and stuff like that. It just did not enter my consciousness once, and this is almost, it's, in a way, it's like a mini death, right? Isn't it? If you basically just put a pause in your life and the only thing you have left is just you, yourself, a room and some food. And this place wasn't pretty at all. Nothing there was pleasurable. The beds were not comfortable. Showers cold. I mean, I don't mind that, but it's just nothing was fun. And you realize what is important, right? And things come up like connections with other humans and aligned experiences, and just living outside of fear. It's a huge thing, and how important it is to just understand yourself to this level. And also, if you get a chance to do something like this, if you haven't done it before, how lucky you are to actually give yourself this opportunity. And I think of all the spiritual practices that I've done, I found actually going away into silence and reflecting, contemplating, meditating to be almost, the most beneficial. Because don't get me wrong, there are other ways to create amazing, profound, mystical experiences, but it's hard to integrate them sometimes. And this is a way to really incrementally integrate these, incredible insights, right? Because you're going away, you're removing everything, and you're able to start reflecting on things, seeing the wonder within, and then start looking at how you can slowly integrate that back into your life, right? And I think probably do a part 2 on this, but one last point that I think was really worth talking about and really beautiful was how you actually start to see that heaven, or nirvana, peace, the thing that we're looking for. Yes, it's inside, but also it's outside, and it's in the subtlety of reality. It's actually, if you hone your attention in and refine your attention enough, and you can obviously do that through meditation, but even just removing noise helps. You start to see that in every moment there is joy, in every moment there is peace. And it's not just a belief, it's not just a concept. It's that actually what's going on right now is that we're blind to that. We can't see that that's the natural state of life, the natural flow. There is an inherent peace to it. There is an inherent almost bliss to it. But we're ignorant to that fact because our minds are scattered. And the mind being scattered creates unconsciousness, and then it creates suffering and trapped emotions in the body, and then we just get taken away from that. And if we can learn to slowly refine our minds and start focusing it outward and start actually observing reality and seeing it clearly, and having a clear sight on what this is in front of us, that we actually see, we kind of live in heaven, but we're fucking it up. I don't know if you've heard that phrase before, but it's right there in front of you. It's a state of consciousness, and to realize that, and to realize it's a possibility. I'm not going to say it's easy, and I'm not going to say that it's something that, through just 10 days of silence you're going to get to be able to bask in that all the time. Probably not, because of the fact of how chaotic and hard it is to actually be able to refine our senses to the point where we're able to see this truth, that everything is in a sense love, right? It takes a lot of time, can take a lot of practice and a lot of effort, but having that insight, seeing that, seeing the value in just the real small things and finding massive joy in that, can be so liberating. I remember speaking to a guy there as well who, was doing this a lot, and come from quite a troubled background, and he was pretty vehemently passionate about getting everyone to do the rules, follow the, get up early, don't break the rules, keep silence, and all this stuff. And he was just talking about how throughout the years he's just slowly, more and more, finally found joy in just doing absolutely nothing. Say just drinking a tea in his room. So he doesn't need to go out and go to the cinema and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way, but you kind of get what I'm saying. And actually, what's really interesting is that by doing this, doing things like going to the cinema or doing things that you enjoy become even more wonderful anyway, because you start seeing just like the magic in it, and you also start appreciating it as well. Like you start having gratitude for things if you remove yourself from stuff for a while, right? Also, it's a great way to have a blank slate if you suffer from things like addictions and stuff like that. So I think I might do a part 2. There's so much to get through with this kind of stuff, and here's just I think just a small glimpse and just of what I experienced. And this is just an invitation. If you haven't done this before, totally go away and do it. You don't need to go somewhere. You can do it by yourself. It's really difficult. So if you haven't maybe gone somewhere to do it, maybe at first try 1 or 2 days, maybe just try a day by yourself, just total detox from everything, and just do it slowly. But it's definitely worthwhile, and I think 10 days is a great way to really penetrate and get deep and see the value of it. Obviously I've done longer, and I think if you can go a month, then obviously it takes it to that next level, and then obviously if you go longer, then it's just you're going to keep getting benefit. Now, see, there's another side to this. You have to integrate it, and you don't want to run away from things, and of course, there's that whole thing too. But I think right now in the world that it's not something to worry about too much. I think people need to do that. They need to remove themselves more and contemplate and self-reflect in silence than they do not do that. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. But thank you so much for getting it through to the video, to the end, sorry, of the video, and hopefully you'll have a beautiful day and are inspired to try this yourself. And I shall hopefully see you in the next video.